our roll call.
Mr. Robert Ellis,
Present.
Mr. Gary Libby,
Here.
Mr. Gary Koliopoulos,
Here. Very good.
Mr. Vernon Weatherholt,
Here.
Miss Amy Pyle,
Here.
Miss Helen Humphreys, Mr. William Biddorf,
Here.
and Mr. Raymond Massot.
Here.
All right, if everyone would go ahead and stand, we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, moving along, we have the approval of our minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have anything they'd like to amend, or would we like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
I'll second, but there's a couple of, there was a typo of a name that someone brought out in public comments. He mentioned Steve Koenig, and it was spelled it Canning, probably because it's a tough name, but it's Koenig.
K-O-E-N-I-G.
Yes, the late Steve Koenig, right? So
Can fix
that
that.
was it.
All right. Well, other than that, we have a motion to approve from Gary. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, approved. And we're moving on to our staff reports from the police department.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so for the last 2 weeks, we actually looked pretty good for our district. We had 1,110 calls for service, 224 reports written, 240 citations issued out of 263 traffic stops, 43 felony arrests, 45 misdemeanor arrests, and 19 accidents. And as you know, this was Jeep Beach week. Part of this was including Jeep Beach. So it was actually pretty successful. We didn't have a whole lot of issues with the people visiting for Jeep Week. During that week, there were several noise complaints that we were able to handle for the most part. We had 2 aggravated assaults, 1 sex offense, 3 burglaries that were cleared. 2 of them were cleared by arrest. 3 stolen vehicles, 1 which appears might be suspicious, 1 was an attempt, and 2 of those stolen vehicles were actually left unsecured. And 3 larcenies to a vehicle, and we cleared 1 by arrest. So upcoming, we have Dayton to Daytona, which is this week. We haven't seen a whole influx yet on that. Last year, there wasn't much of an issue with that going on at this time last year. May 16th is the Law Enforcement Memorial Service, and that's at our main police headquarters at 4 p.m. on, like I said, the 16th. May 24th to the 26th is our potential truck event, as well as Orlando Invades Daytona, which is just a one-day event on Saturday. Last year, that wasn't really much of an issue, the Orlando Invades Daytona, and the truck event is come and go. So we are planning for that, and the whole police department has been mandated for that weekend. So everybody will be out there unless you have exigent circumstances. And then, oh, that's it. May 31st is the last day of school.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is the truck event sponsored by any agency? And if it is sponsored by any agency, do they have to pay fees also?
I do not believe it.
I think it's unsanctioned.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
When are we going to sanction the Jeep Beach? I mean, we're trying to do an event on Main Street. We have to provide police, and we have to provide nurses, and we have to provide public works to help set it up, et cetera. And we've got events like Jeep Beach and others that take over the entire town, and I know provide a lot of challenges for our police department. I've spoken to a number of police.
Yes, sir.
Is there any idea to look into some of these uncertified or sort of free-for-all events? Do they pay any fees at all? Even a cleanup fee when they scratch off on, of course, that's a state road, A1A, looks like a asphalt kind of thing.
If I answered that, I would be completely guessing, sir, but I can get that information for you.
And maybe our director.
Well, Mr. Chair, I can't tell you the name of the organization, but there's a name ad hoc organization that applies every year
Oh, I know.
to have this event. So it is that organization that puts on the event. I can't remember what their name is, but they go through the process of having police services out there, and some of the streets, I think they are
But
sanctioned
do
off.
they pay for those services?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay,
Absolutely.
okay. And insurance, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, terrific. Okay, thank you. I don't think the police department knows that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm sure members of this board didn't know that as well, but it's great, nice to know that, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to commend the police department on, which I've noticed, I don't want to tell you how old I am, but I've been here a few years. I've been here a few years. And what I've noticed is, although we have a lot more people living here now, and we're getting a lot more business, we're having less problems. And I greatly appreciate every man, woman that's working with the police department, and thank you.
We
Here,
appreciate
here.
it. Thank you very
Here,
much.
I just want to tell you, it comes noticed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions, comments?
I know Jeep Week is sponsored, and one of the things that Jeep Week does, they contribute a lot of money on the tune of about $500,000 to different charities. Whenever they're here, they're probably they have events at the Speedway that are sanctioned, they have security, and they're probably the least evasive of anybody in Daytona Beach that comes here, and the cleanest.
Yeah.
Good,
Agreed.
good.
They're a registered 501c3 charity.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They, the only thing we have with them is the noise from the music, but that's it. Otherwise, they're very respectful. They're
Yeah.
very organized. We hardly have any issues with them at all.
And all the officers were pretty on top of the noise when it came time for it to shut down.
We were trying.
Yeah, you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. Thank
Okay,
you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right, moving on to new business. Are we beginning with the wall graphics?
Yes.
All right, so.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'm going to present, this is a request by Mr. David Hettel on behalf of the business owner, Lance Wilson, and the property owner, Jay McBride, to apply a wall graphic to the west wall of the building. And this is the picture, how it will look like. They are requesting funds for public art through ARPA funds.
Is there a public art, isn't there a public art committee?
No, is this board approved the artwork, and then we take it to commission, and they are going to approve the agreement between the business owner and the CRA, so we can provide the funds.
Right. I thought that there was a lot of work. I saw an ordinance that went in draft form before the city commission on establishing an advisory board to say grace over public art, not only in our area, which is tremendously important, but throughout parts of the city.
I am not aware of the status of that. Like
Okay.
you, I know that there was something, but this is before this board specifically because the Land Development Code requires it. So if it needs another step before it goes to commission, we'll make sure that that happens. But this is at least one of the steps that has to take place.
It's important because it's sort of precedent setting on how the city is going to involve art in public places in our city. So do you have information about the artist? Do you have information?
Yes, the artist is here. In
Okay.
case you have any questions, he can provide more information about the art that he's doing.
Well, let me suggest that we need a form then. If we're going to be involved in this before anything happens, we need to have a Vita sheet on the artist. I mean, if you know anything about the Art in Public Places programs in other cities, they're pretty well structured. I think they'd be very happy to share with us. Even DeLand
There's
has
certain-
one. Yeah.
There are specific Land Development Code regulations that you are applying to this project. That's what you're here to make sure that this project meets these Land Development
Yes,
Code
yeah,
regulations.
I understand that. But you don't want it to fail. You want it to succeed, and so it's very, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't buy a piece of art that I don't know who painted
So
it.
Gary,
Well,
did,
if the artist is here, he can provide information about.
did you see the information in the packet, Gary? Because it listed all about the artist and how he's going to do it and
Yeah,
what type of.
Yeah, pardon me,
So
but I
it's in
thought, I thought we had a committee already in place in order to handle that. I was looking for a recommendation with all that information. I didn't see anything. Okay.
All what this board is going to do is approve the artwork. Now, when you approve the artwork, we take it to commission, and as I said, the commissioners are going to approve the agreement between the artist and the business owner and the city.
Understood.
Angela, this is the artwork of these, right?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All right.
Do you want?
Yeah. Oh, well, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you come and? Can you come and do a presentation?
Thank you, Angela.
Looks very tasteful.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Good, good.
Hi, good
Gary, you have
evening.
questions for him? or-
Yeah, tell us about some of the other Art in Public Places projects you participated in.
Art in public places. Well, let's see. Mostly what I've done, is commercial stuff. It hasn't been public.
Okay.
I have murals over in the Ocean Walk Towers, some Art Deco murals in the lobby areas over
Right,
there.
right.
As far as doing for public, I must admit I don't have that much, experience along those lines.
Well, then forgive me for going in this direction because it's probably inappropriate considering we have a responsibility based on the code. So why don't you share, well, I'll start. Don't want to ask a question that you don't have an answer for. I mean, that's sort of rude. Share with us some of your other projects that are like this.
Well, since about 1999, I've been incorporated under the name Primal Colors Incorporated, doing decorative painting, which means painting murals residentially, commercially, all over the state of Florida. And I've had a few private art shows in Ormond Beach, and since the last 3 or 4 years, I've been selling fine art and showing my work in galleries and what have you. But as I said, I've worked for as what's called a decorative painter, and a large part of being a decorative painter and a decorative painting business is mural painting. So over the last 20 years, I've done a lot of artwork, as I said, all over the state,
Well, tell
and
us-
as far away as Atlanta. So-
Tell us about this piece.
About what?
This piece.
I think of it, the background as Art Deco, with the centerpiece being kind of a frieze, or, if you will, or a almost as if the the figures were carved into stone in the middle. So I would paint the middle part where it's featuring some Spanish soldiers, a friar, and some Spanish surveyors, on the beach of, someplace in the New World, Florida, near St. Augustine, perhaps, somewhere in this part of the state. And they're looking at some plans, and they have like a chest, like a treasure chest in front of them. And then on either side, I have these cameos of detailed four-masted sailing vessels from that period. So basically, it's an Art Deco mural with, with historical overtones. And on the right side of the mural, on the far right side of the mural will be depictions of the old world, and on the far left side of the mural will be depictions of more kind of jungle, new world type of imagery.
We did have Spanish here, too. We had a lot of Spanish. If you've ever been to the sugar mill or any of the ruins in New Smyrna Beach or that area. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Amy, go ahead.
I just want to compliment you. I like the art, and I think it's really a neat way because it's Silver Coast coins.
Yeah.
So it sort of blends the Florida history with the fact that it's actually a business where you can, if you find a doubloon on the beach, you can go in there and learn about it. So I like the concept. I think it's appropriate for that area. As you're coming down the bridge, I'm assuming that area is going to be, it's city property, so there's going to be nothing in, it's going to be the first thing you see as you come down the bridge. You see the back of that, the Silver Coast coins. So it's kind of neat. I like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I rather like your Art Deco layout on it. It's a very nice layout. I appreciate it. And you're applying this all with latex house paint, or what do you?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of hard.
How are you going to apply this? All latex paint, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it would all be exterior, like exterior house paint.
Right.
I've been doing business with Southern Paint for
Right.
about 20 years, and all my exterior murals, I use the best exterior materials, and then once the painting is complete, I would put a couple clear color sealant coats on it, and the longevity should be,
Yeah.
it should look the same in 10 years.
That's the standard on murals.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just one. So Primal Colors, you've been doing, Primal Colors, you've been doing this for a while,
Yes.
right? I think it's since 2016, because I was looking on Facebook. You've been doing art a long time.
Yeah.
What company were you before you were Primal Colors?
Well, I worked at Inex T-shirts. I worked at Mother T's T-shirts. I airbrushed surfboards. I sign painted. I've pretty much been a freelance artist
That's very
since I
impressive.
graduated from when it was still called Daytona Beach Community College. I got a degree in commercial and advertising art from them. But I've pretty much been a freelance artist since I graduated from there in 1981.
Well, you have my vote. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a curiosity question. Do you graph it like we were taught in art school, like each block, and then enlarge it?
Well, I can do that if I'm in a situation where I can't use a projector. I will use a graph.
Okay.
But
So you're gonna use
I have a digital projector, and I will probably have a small scaffolding set back 10, 20 feet or whatever from the wall and project it in like maybe 4 different sections. And then I would plan to have a lift or something that's a little more mobile up next to the wall with which I can draw the design in and start painting. So
Okay.
that's how I normally
You'll
work.
have to do it in the shade. most likely.
Pardon?
You'll have to do it in the shade.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
I've got a question for staff. In the code, what is this mural called?
Wall graphic.
No, I understand that, but is it called a graphic? Is it called a work of art? Is it
This
called
would be
that?
considered a wall graphic.
A wall graphic, okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, y'all done?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice work.
The definition of a wall graphic is
Do you
a
have a
wall.
question?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So a wall graphic is a wall decoration that depicts a scene, picture, illustration, or design with no written message, word, insignia, arrow, or logo. So that's why this falls under that.
I don't know if it's time to take public comment on this yet. No. Are you done? Yes. Okay, that's all I was making sure. Yeah, then yes, we're open for public comment on this.
Nazak, 501 Harvey. First of all, I admire your artistic skill, and I love Southern paint. I'm sorry, Miss, what kind of establishment this is? Is it like a historic museum? What kind of establishment is this? What kind of what? Establishment. What kind of business is this?
Are you following the 3-minute thing?
Wow.
Oh, please
Well, that's,
do.
I think, oh, the silver,
don't have
the
one.
silver coast, I love that.
What do I hit?
Okay,
Three?
I totally love that shop. I adore it. I want it to stay vibrant. I love the level of skill on the mural. When I first saw the Spanish conquistadores and the galleons, it was a little jarring to me. I'm not Native American or anything, but it was a little shocking to look at that particular chapter of United States
gotta get it
history
fixed.
being
This is-
maybe
Nick is
glorified,
here.
but it is a really pretty mural, and it'll get people
Oh,
talking.
absolutely, when
But
somebody gets the microphone.
I do question depicting a bunch of Spaniards, but
We'll be here
you
all
know,
night.
I'm just saying, sorry to be the boring, politically correct, whatever, but I just had to say something.
Yeah, history's history, though.
History's history, but guess what? If there was like a coin shop that was looking at, like, let's say we were in a different location and there was a bunch of Nazi loot buried somewhere, I wouldn't want to see a mural with a bunch of dudes in Nazi uniforms. Just saying. It's just-
That's a problem, yeah.
That would be a problem, for sure.
Oh, we've gotta have-
Thank you.
We've got to have the 3-minute clock.
Do we have any other public comments on this? Anybody? Nope. All right. Go ahead and move to a vote on this.
Thank you,
Um,
Chairman. He'd like it.
let's wait on Gary for a moment.
Okay. How do you start it? Press that.
Are we doing
Okay.
anything?
Will the beat go off? Okay, beautiful.
You're gonna
Okay,
bring it back?
thank you. Thank you. I'll be your clock band.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this to a
Gary will be
vote.
the clock man.
Everyone in favor of the wall graphics going in at 222?
We need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion.
Yes.
My
I'll
bad.
move we accept the wall graphic as
Second.
presented.
I'll second.
You'll second? All right. Now, all those in favor of approving the wall graphics on 222 East International Speedway? please-
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing no opposed, the motion moves.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt the process, but we have a new member that wasn't introduced.
Well,
in
we
the
do have a new
beginning.
member
I
that
don't
wasn't
know him.
introduced.
I just
I
wanted
don't
to
either.
take
Would you
1
care to
second
introduce
and
yourself?
Introduce all of ourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
I
all.
know him.
I've usually been on the other side.
That's how it starts.
Gary Kaliopoulos. I've got Beach Express on the on A1A near Main Street area. I've been there for 35 years.
Welcome.
Good
Welcome.
guy.
Good to meet you.
Thank
Do you want us to introduce ourselves to you? No?
I kind of know everything.
Okay. All right. Well, we haven't really met, but
All right. Thank you, Amy. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have the Commercial Property Improvement Grant request for 140 South Grandview. You have a presentation for us on this one, Angela? All right.
This is a request by Ms. Amy Pyle, applicant and property owner. Ms. Pyle is requesting the Redevelopment Board to approve the request for funding through the 0% interest loan commercial incentive program. This is the property location. The property is located 140 South Grandview. The review of and the decision of a commercial incentive application shall be based on the following preconditions. And that's something that we talked when I did the presentation about the incentive. So the first precondition is it a conforming use? The subject property is in RDV 6, Redevelopment Beachside Surfside Village, which allows professional services office as a principal use. And that is the intent of this building. Does the property has any delinquent ad valorem taxes or municipal or county liens? Staff have not found any delinquent ad valorem taxes, municipal or county liens on the subject property. And number 3, how the project will contribute to the elimination or prevention of slum and blight. This building has been empty and without any improvement for years. The applicant is proposing exterior and interior improvement to bring the building into compliance and make it attractive for the redevelopment district. The applicant is also proposing to create several professional office spaces which will contribute to the job creation. And I have some pictures how the building looked like right now. And the picture at the bottom is the proposed signage that the building will have.
Wasn't that the old Beat building?
Yep.
Is there parking?
See, yes, I mean, yes.
The back of it, right there.
Let her get
I think
through
it's
the-
right there.
Right there.
Yes.
Over there.
Oh, over here,
Let her
okay.
finish.
Either way.
Up to code, parking.
Okay, so this is our pictures. As you can see, the building has water damage, and that everything, the applicant is proposing to solve all those problems. Also, she will have landscape plan. She's going to paint the exterior and the interior. That's also water damage, and that will be covered through this grant as well.
Okay.
I didn't include all the pictures in this PowerPoint presentation, but I did include it on your package. This is the interior, one of the offices. That's the kitchen and a part of the outside. Recommendation, staff recommends approval of the commercial improvement grant for the 140 Surfside Professional Project in the amount not to exceed $50,000. A majority of vote by the Beachside Redevelopment Board members present and voting is required to recommend approval to the City Commission. And of course, the applicant is here. If you have any question,
Yeah.
she is more than happy to answer.
All right, thank you, Angela. Questions?
I've got, yeah.
Should I answer from here or go
Yeah,
over there?
Well, no, you might not, it might be, maybe for the staff. Is this building listed as a contributing structure in the Surfside National Historic District?
No, sir.
It is not, okay. Okay, you're home free, Amy.
Go ahead, Will.
Thing is, I agree with what she's doing, because I used to go there, I used to do business with Mr. Leet some years ago. Nice old gentleman, I used to do
Right.
some work for him. And actually, there was another gentleman there that used to do my air conditioning. That was the second thing. It'd be nice to see somebody come in there and do something positive and set a standard in, on Beachside and start to fix something up. And I commend her for that.
It's really an important structure, too. It's an important building. It represents a class of structures and the material used in it that is really a period, almost a period piece, and I salute you for jumping on the
Absolutely.
project. I think it'll be great. Thank you.
Absolutely a period piece.
Yeah.
Screams mid-century all the way. Do you have any plans on how you're going to redo the interior?
Yeah, well, I'll just, I didn't write anything up because I wanted you to kind of hear from the heart. I'll try not to go on
Right.
and on, but I am super excited. This building is right next to my house, and I consider the former owner as a neighbor. So it's, and for 14 years. So it's almost like keeping it in the family in a way. Mr. Leet retired and, I think stopped working there probably, he was on and off, but about a year ago, there hasn't been any activity in there. And we had hoped that we would have an opportunity to purchase it when he finally did let the building go. So I've been looking at it and dreaming of what it can be for all this time. And you said it does scream mid-century. It is mid-century.
Yeah.
Not built in 1969.
Yep.
It's concrete block with that pattern on the outside is etched into the concrete block. It's never been, the front has never been painted, so it needs a sealant coat on there to protect that old block. The low square structure is just going to be a real, it's going to be really neat to bring out those lines. It's very unique on the street and in Surfside Village. I mean, there's nothing else like it. It will have it could possibly have 3 offices, but ideally 2, or someone could occupy the whole space. It's kind of broken into a front and a rear. There are 4 parking spaces in a parking area in the back. I'm happy to tell you anything else about it, but the color is gonna be similar to what you saw on the wall in that office. It's kind of a very pale, old-fashioned green color that will go with the brown, the bronze window trim and the brown, fascia. So, I don't know, I'm happy to answer any other specific questions, but I could really go on and on.
I'm just happy to hear about it and
Yeah. I
support
think-
restoring any building like that.
I
Go
want
ahead,
everybody
Will.
to come out
Yeah.
when it's done.
I think there are opportunities, through the National that house will be qualified when you finish it.
Yeah, well.
If it's in
It
the
might.
similar material and style.
That gets complicated.
And I think there are some serious grant possibilities too to help
Yeah.
for commercial use.
Oh, that kind of reminds me of the one thing I did want to add, that when we purchased the building, when we signed the contract on it, we had not yet heard about this grant program. And this came up very quickly, and we had intended to take, we talked about it, can we take 1 to 2 years to finish this work on our own? But with the grant program, it looks like we'll be able to have at least the front office ready for occupation in about 6 months from when we bought the place.
Bravo.
And then right away, get to work on the next. So it'll be active, it's going to be professional office, high quality office space.
Could make a great house too.
Amazing. I'm very ecstatic about it, and I'm more excited. I don't want to act all jumping around, but the thing is I was talking to some residents and some developers that came into town from Seattle, Washington, and the gentleman said something very wise to me, and it sticks with me. To be stagnant and do nothing is like a stagnant pond. You can't swim in it. So we just got to keep getting things done, a little bit here and a little bit there, and eventually we'll look, and everything's great. So I'm excited. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
I would like to make a proposal.
I have a question before
Okay.
a proposal.
And we'll also need to have public comment.
Yeah, we also need public comment, but go ahead.
Have you checked with a contractor on doing the repair work or anything in there?
Oh, yeah, I have all my quotes to Angela.
Because a lot of people, it'll have to be a general contractor that pulls a permit since it's commercial property.
Yeah, if they're, right, I understand that, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Amy before we move to public comment?
Just a proposal that Amy invites the board on grand opening.
Here.
I would
Oh,
love it.
Yes, please.
I would love it. You can drive by and peek, but then we'll
I'll bring the wine.
we'll do a ribbon cutting or something.
All right.
Thank you.
Ann Ruby?
Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. Also, there are public places in front of the building on the street. So there is that extra parking.
Yep.
I just want to say, it sounds like you're all feeling pretty positive about this. Amy has made and with Dave, made such a tremendous change on that street and the other properties they've owned. And thank you, Amy. I look forward to seeing what this looks like. It's going to be great. And yeah, I think it's a great idea.
here.
Great for grant program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Jenny Nazak?
Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. I'm just super happy. Amy doesn't need anyone to speak up, but I'm one of her neighbors. Everything she touches in the neighborhood turns to gold, and it's aesthetic and it's also social. She gives so much to the neighborhood, and incremental development like this, to be able to do incremental development, is how a lot of towns that have been suffering blight are managing to revive themselves. So a mini developer, so to speak. Yay, and thank you. I'm super excited. I love it.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve? We've got a motion from Will. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the commercial property improvement grant funding request for 140 South Grandview, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none opposed, it passes. Congratulations, Amy.
Very much.
And next, we have another commercial property improvement grant request for 740 Main Street.
Yes, sir. Ms. Fusha Koopman, applicant and business owner, is requesting the Redevelopment Board to approve the request for funding through the 0% interest loan commercial incentive program. That's the property location is 740 Main Street, is right across the street from the Corbin Building, between South Grandview and South Noble Street. Review of and the decision of commercial incentive application shall be based on the following preconditions. Is it a conforming use? The subject property is in the RDV2, Redevelopment Beachside Specialty Retail, which allows restaurant without drive-in or drive-through service and a specialty eating or drinking establishment as a principal use. The applicant is proposing to have a restaurant and wine bar. Number 2, does the property has any delinquent ad valorem taxes or municipal county liens? Staff has not found any delinquent ad valorem taxes, municipal or county liens on the subject property. How the project will contribute to the elimination and prevention of the slum and blight. This subject property is in one of our core areas. The applicant is proposing a complete exterior and interior improvement to bring the building into compliance. This new small business in our district will encourage economic growth and create jobs for locals. This project will give customers access to more products and services in the Main Street area. And I have some pictures. The top is the existing elevation, and they proposed option 1. This is how it looked before. As you can see, the building was in very bad condition. Exposed wires. The floor was damaged, the ceiling was damaged, and this is some of the work that the applicant has done so far. So it is a beautiful project as well. Those are part of the wall. Again, I didn't include all the pictures because it will be a very long presentation, but I do have the applicant here in case you have any question about the project. It will be a restaurant, 35 Bistro is the name. It will be a restaurant and wine bar, right on Main Street. This is the outside. This is beautiful as well. Staff recommends approval of the commercial improvement grant for the 35 Bistro restaurant and wine bar project in the amount not to exceed $50,000. A majority vote by the Beachside Redevelopment Board members present and voting is required to recommend approval to the City Commission.
Question.
Any questions?
Who has questions?
Any designated parking?
Well, that Main Street does not require,
Well, I know it doesn't require.
well, it doesn't require parking, but the redevelopment staff is working on something to provide some parking for that restaurant.
That's
Beautiful.
excellent.
Beautiful.
That'll
Thank
make
you.
a huge difference for them.
Yeah.
Amy?
So you said it was right across from the Corbin building, so there is public parking right there. Will will their customers be able to park there and
Yes.
visit their
That's
establishment? Yeah,
what we're trying to do.
that'll be great.
But also, we are working on another location specific for customer of the Main Street businesses.
Good.
No, that's
You know how I
great to
like
hear.
Parking.
Does anybody have questions for the applicant, or are they all for
I
staff?
have a question for staff.
Okay.
You say you're working on additional parking. May I ask where that would be?
Well, the city owns a parking lot right behind the building. It's currently for Joe's employees, so we are trying to make a deal and see if we can have some of those parking. But also, we have another parking lot on South Noble Street that is barely used. So we are going to utilize
Bravo.
those two that we have on hands that are owned by the city.
Are you going to allow different people on Main Street to park there, or
Yes,
it'll be
for
public
customers.
parking?
For customers, we don't have the details, because we recently had a meeting. What we are doing, we need to provide, or the businesses needs to provide a way how they can validate that they are customers.
Right.
So that's still on the working, but that's our intention.
Business parking only. Business parking
Oh,
only.
customers parking.
Customer parking
Yeah.
only.
Go ahead, Will.
Well, I want to commend the staff of the city, because at this point, we're finding a way to help the small businesses flourish, and I'm in great support of it. And I'm in great support and very much admire our staff, and they're doing a great job, in my
Hear,
opinion.
hear.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Go ahead, Amy.
This is sort of just a comment for the business owners that right behind you is Surfside Village, where I live, and there are a lot of residents there that come up to Main Street for various events, and there isn't a wine bar and bistro on Main Street. And I know for a fact that we will come up there, and a lot of the people that I know in my neighborhood would enjoy that variety on Main Street, and we don't need parking because we can walk there.
Yeah, I'll also say that I have many customers who search food out on Main Street, and not all customers want to eat fried bar food, so
Right.
it'll be a great addition to the street.
Yes.
I look forward to that. Does anybody have questions for the applicant?
Yes.
Otherwise? All right, let's go ahead and get the applicant up here. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, guys.
Hello, good to meet you.
Good evening.
Hi.
Who has questions? Go ahead. Let's start.
What drew you to Main Street to open up on Main Street?
Why Main Street is that? I was looking for since a year now, and it was places on Holly Hill, and what I like about Main Street is because it's across the street from the beach.
I'm-
That's why I choose Main Street.
I'm so happy that you're open it there. I think it'll be great for the area. I just wanted you to come up so I could commend you and thank you and your family for doing this. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're facing a lot of challenges rehabbing that building. I've known 4 of the past people in that building, and I know you had a lot of work to do.
I know,
So
I had a lot of people telling me that was crazy.
no, I've taken on giant projects myself. I commend you guys for doing it. I hope you do very well.
Bravo, bravo.
Anybody else? Is that it? All right. Thank you very much. All right. We have some public comment on this. Jenny Nazak.
Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. Thank you to the restaurant owner. I love this. I live right next to Main Street. I will totally go. Thank you to the city for doing the parking sharing, because yeah, those parking lots, they're empty most of the time. We need to
Correct.
share. It's better. Oh, I'm excited about the new restaurant. We'll totally walk there.
Thank you, Jenny. All right. Who would like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of approving for the commercial property improvement grant funding request on 740 Main Street, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none opposed, congratulations. All right. Next, we have a presentation from the Main Street Merchants Association from Tom Guest.
Members of the board, city staff, I'm Tom Guest. I reside at 721 Garden Lane in Ormond Beach, and I manage property from 608 to 618 Main Street. And I am president of the Main Street Merchants Association, which we have just kind of restarted and planning on doing some wonderful things to try to bring more business to Main Street, bring more people to open businesses on Main Street, and eventually bring more customers. You know, I've been on Main Street since 1985, so I remember when there was a lot of things going on. You know, and I want to see it back to what it was back then. But we're planning on doing a festival Labor Day weekend. The exact date is August 31st. Which is the Saturday before Labor Day, 2 days before Labor Day, and I put a proposal out in front of everybody. Everybody should have this in front of you, and to go over it. What I have put down here, the expenses, the city fees, the police, they're requiring 11 officers. At a cost, and I get these numbers from Demetria down in Parks and Rec. So these are current numbers, but they might change. They can change from time to time, and these numbers are up quite a bit. I used to promote a lot of festivals back in the 90s and early 2000s up until 2010, and anyways, they're requiring 11 officers for a total of $5,135. We need 2 paramedics. $45 per hour, $630. I always get extra trash barrels so that it makes it easier to keep the street clean, okay, so that they can pick up the trash afterwards. So I'm renting 8 trash barrels at $27.50 each. That's a total of $220. Sanitation and cleanup, this is an estimate. They didn't give me a price yet. They didn't give me a cost. But in looking back over the years, $500 is about what it used to be. It's probably higher than that now. Everything else is. The police is probably triple what we used to pay. Mm-hmm. And traffic engineering, $2,718.10. Permit application fee is $75. That's a total of $9,278.10. Okay, I've listed some of the expenses that we're going to have. Television, we're going to do a 30-second ad. Radio, we're going to do a 30-second ad. Flyers and posters, which we're going to make up, and I do a lot of that myself, is $250. Mike Politis, we were expecting to get some money from him, but Chrissy Dobie's his manager in that department, just found out today she's broke. Doesn't have any more money. So what we're doing is negotiating with him for the television and radio ads. He has contracts with the Channel 13, the local TV, and Hog, the local radio station. And he will give us some of his ad spots to run the ads that we need to run. Budweiser, we're still negotiating. I've spoken with Chris Bowler, one of the owners, and I'm going to meet with Ryan Dealey and find out, we're going to see what we're going to get from them. Vendors, as it is right now, we got $750 coming in. Now, it's obviously going to run a little bit more than this, so we're going to have to get donations from the members if we can't bring in any more money from vendors or whatever it is. Whatever it takes to put the thing on, the merchants will ante up. What I'm asking is the city fees up here, I'm asking that you approve, and we do have the money, approve that the CRA pays the city fees for this event. That's my request.
Thank you, Tom.
Any questions?
Yeah, I could, yeah.
I have a question for Kira real quick. Do we have the power to approve that for the CRA, or do we have the power to motion?
Just
That's what I was
recommend, yeah.
going to say. We have a recommendation power, correct? Okay. Just wanted to clarify that before we move on. Go ahead, Gary.
Do you have a budget, a general idea of what this event is going to cost? Because it's sort of a precedent-setting thing now. I think,
Right. Well, I don't know exactly what the 30-second ad for TV or radio is going to cost. I've been talking to these people, and I used to be able to just walk into these places and meet with somebody. They don't do that anymore. You fill the thing out online, and they get back to you when they get back to you. And then they set up a meeting for next week, the week after, or whenever. So I'm kind of up in the air about exactly what that's going to be. But we do have, Mike Blightus is going to help us with the advertising. Budweiser, we're talking about, and they used to make all the banners for us and put advertising on it, and the city won't allow that anymore.
are you officially a 501c3?
We are not.
See, then there's no donation, you know.
are-
I hope you share that with these
We
people.
are a not-for-profit corporation filed with Sunbiz in the state of Florida.
No, but that's,
We
you're
are
not,
working on getting 501c3, and if you want, Tom Caffrey is taking care of most of that. So we are expecting to be a 501c3.
now, for some reason, I thought in the good old days, it was a 501c3.
No, it never
It
was.
never was.
I started the Main Street Merchant Association back in 1990.
Because there were, if you look on your website, which is a very good website, you can't get another person on Main Street. It is so packed from the good old days. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars that it helped to generate in that area. I strongly urge that you get a 501c3.
We are
Because
working.
you can put, the other classification has no legal status. The biz thing, that's a marketing tool that people sell that to unsuspecting.
But it is registered with Sunbiz. We
Yeah, but-
are incorporated.
Yeah, but Sunbiz is, can't
It's just-
grant
it's-
501c3,
Right, no.
write-off. I would urge that you do that, and I'm looking forward to, more life down there. And I urge people, maybe members of this board, to look on the website to see what Main Street used to look like. There's a history of the events, and
We're going to make it look like that.
they're very impressive, and thank you very much for looking into this. I know we have a parking huge challenge. Could you share with me, since we have no official city available parking, how are you going to do that, and who's going to carry the insurance?
The Ocean Center, we carry as a matter of fact, Bobby has a copy of our insurance policy.
Okay.
$1 million policy with a $2 million aggregate that I have already filed with the city to do this.
Okay.
And I will file it with the county. If we use, they have several parking lots. One of them right across from my building, which is 615 Main Street, holds 50 or 75 cars.
Are you going to advertise?
Yes.
Parking, the
Oh,
availability?
absolutely.
Okay.
And the county, there's another county lot that is paid parking that, I'm working on. We've always used that, and, the Ocean Center is always willing to let us use that.
At $5 a car?
Well, they're going to make money off it.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's why they're willing to
But
let you.
there are other parking lots. The
Yeah.
west parking lot is not paid. It's free. And that parking lot right across the street from my building is free parking.
Do you know whether or not any of the police time or any of the official Daytona Beach time is considered overtime? Are we paying policemen overtime? Are we paying firemen overtime in order to staff this event?
We don't know at this point until the event happens and the application is filled out.
Well, the application has been filed with Dimitri a couple of weeks ago. The application is in there, and that's where I get these. I'm already getting I'm already getting reports back from the police department, 11 officers, $5,135.
It's special detail. I don't know whether or not it qualifies.
it's OT,
It's
it's special
overtime or
detail.
not, but it's possible that it is.
The police are
we
getting
would have to.
The police are getting $45 an hour per man.
I don't think that's overtime, but
I think special detail is separate from overtime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, correct.
It's completely separate.
It's a special event
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah,
Okay.
Completely different rate.
Okay. Tom, tell us about why it's a single day. You're going to do an awful lot of work for how many hours? 8 hours? 7 hours?
Yeah, well, we'll have a 2-hour setup and about 6 hours, the actual festival. To do it for 2 days really doesn't, we have vendors out there. Now, if we're doing an event like, I was at an event last week, the Celtic Festival, which is up in Ormond, and it's, it's on private property. Okay, so the vendors can set up and stay there. These vendors are going to set up on Main Street.
Sure.
So tents, food trucks, they're going to have to move off of Main Street at midnight when the event closes that one night. Then they're going to have to set up again the next day. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's very cost prohibitive. You know, we want to at least try it this way this time, which is the way that we've always done it in the past. And at least try it this way and see how it goes. And maybe we can try to figure out some way to do it 2 days.
I support that concept, and the 501c3 is the key to getting the right sponsors for 2 days and everybody winning, the city, the Main Street Association, and the people who will have a chance to get back onto Main Street. But you've got to have your 501c3, because there are companies that would love to have their name associated with a 2-day event there that might not on a 1-day event, especially if there's no write-off at all. They can only write it off as a business advertising expense. So those things tie together.
And if we get, the county does have a fairly large lot at 615 Main Street.
Yes, it does.
Okay, if we can work something out to have a festival on that lot with the county, okay, we can set people up there. They can stay there overnight and open up the next day, have it for 2 days.
Okay.
It's a good option. Amy, questions?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Tom, for taking over the Main Street Merchants Association and, and beginning to pump some life back into it. It's good. We've had a lot of discussions on this board about doing more things on Main Street, so I think here we are with somebody wanting to do something on Main Street. If it's a 1-day, 2-day, we're going to see how this goes and learn whether that $10,000 is, something we want to keep doing. I just can't imagine that sum being a problem for the CRA, and let's see what happens. So I was going to ask you a couple questions about now
Sure.
the Memorial Day event, correct? Is that a Saturday? I can't recall. Is it a Monday?
Memorial Day is Monday.
It's a Monday, okay.
September 1st.
So
It's always the first Monday in September.
Right. So a 1-day event on Memorial Day makes sense.
Labor Day or Memorial Day?
Labor Day.
Oh,
Labor
I'm
Day.
sorry, Labor Day. This is Labor Day?
Yeah, you had.
Okay, for September. I know,
And where does this
Challenged
stand
that
in
way.
relation to the Orlando Invades Daytona event that's going on?
No,
Well, it'll be
this is-
September.
That's Memorial Day.
That's Memorial Day. This is,
Labor Day.
I'm getting
why I
confused now too.
We're
We're
all
talking about the same thing.
That's
Go
why-
ahead.
I apologize. Rewind that whole
ahead.
thing. Take that part out of the video, okay? Xavier, can you knock that part out? So it's a 1-day event. What hours will the event be?
We're going to have it, setup will be 3 to 5. The event will actually take place 5 to 11 or midnight.
Okay.
No, the event will probably shut down at 11, okay? Because that's when most of the people are.
So it's an
But
evening.
we're going to have, it'll take an hour for cleanup and breakdown and cleanup.
Right.
So we'll be out of there at 12.
Okay, and so I'm in favor of this event. I would ask, and something that Helen has mentioned previously on this board, is that we see some events that happen in the daytime on Main Street. So is there, you know, the types of event, the types of things that'll be going on in this event, it couldn't start earlier and be like more of a daytime event? I'm just throwing that out there.
We can, okay, and that's another thing that, you know, I was gonna say. We'd like to do this one as planned, and in the future, try to do something that would start during the daytime, because I know Mrs. Humphreys is, she closes at 5 o'clock, wants to be involved in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have done events over there that, there was one that we did many years ago, Crawfish Festival, that actually lasted like a day and a half.
Right, right. And Labor Day is a day when a lot of people are on the beach and there's a lot of families. And so if you had something that started earlier, so in the future, maybe, I think that would be
Yeah,
neat.
we will
Neat if you can do that.
think about it, and of course, you can see the expenses, 5,100 into, well, 90.
Right, you're gonna be
almost
multiplying those.
$9,300.
Right.
You're gonna double that if you have it during the day and at night.
Right, I understand. And then my last question is, what is traffic engineering? What is,
Setting up
the blockades.
Yeah, I think blockades and
signage.
signs.
okay.
Yeah, all those street blockades you see set up on Main Street anytime there's an
Okay, so
event.
the staff and the materials to do
the
that
cones.
is $2,700.
Millions of
Okay.
codes.
They get paid very well.
Okay. I was
want
just
a- I
curious
want a
about
job
that.
there.
I'm,
Right.
no, I'm gonna be a yes on this, and I think I'd like to see like more of these kind of things.
You have a question, Will?
Yeah, just short. I'm definitely in favor of it. The one thing I wanted to add is you have a non-for-profit. I believe that you have a DTN number with the state, so you've gone through the process. That's what I wanted to say, you know, in defense-wise. And I do work with a lot of charities. I do a lot of fundraising, and I work with a non-for-profit that raises money for community functions, and it is a 501c3. And they can get sponsorship, getting sponsorships from some big corporations. And I could put you in touch with them. That way they could get the donate. I don't know how to do this quite together. You gentlemen are more together with that than I would be, but I could put you together with those charities that are operating now that could donate to what you're doing, because
Here, here.
I could see that, for one, you're creating a lot of jobs. And for, even though it's a day, you're really helping the local economy. And I think it's something very good for the community. And I think that there was one of the commissioners, I don't want to quote him because he'll probably come back and give me a hard time, but he says is, you know, he told me one thing was very valuable. And Ken told me, he said, he says, you know, as long as it's good for the well-being of the residents, like if it's good for my community, you know, he's going to, and I think this is the great thing for the community. And I have a lot of respect for you. Honestly, when I was a younger man, a lifetime ago, I used to work for a young fella named Bruce Rossmeyer and miss him greatly. And I think he had Tom Selly working for him, and it was over there at the Seafood Festival.
Yep.
So that's why I walked by and looked at you and said, do I recognize you? But as I'm getting older, my memory seems to leave me, and I apologize.
You're far from old.
But God bless you. Thank you.
I can say that because I'm old.
Let me have one more question. I have a question.
A quick request and a comment from the board, if possible, from the staff. Could you leave us your website address? That's what I need for this whole.
Yeah, announce it.
Yeah.
To the
What's-
public. Announce it to the public, you mean, like right now?
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah.
Main Street Merchants Association, Inc. is what I
Is the
went to.
website address on you? I know it's Main Street Merchants.com something or something else on
Okay,
there.
we'll look it up then.
We'll look it up, and because what you're doing is very important for our community, and you have our, you know, my respect, I'm sure the respect of my colleagues, I'm sure.
And then my question for the staff is, what is the historical precedent in creating a CRA for this? Is that something traditionally is done, or what's been done in the past?
Oh, there's been a lot of support in the past.
that's happened.
Yeah, when the Main Street Association was separate, I served on that board. I don't know if Gary did, but a lot of people did, and we did help fund these events on Main Street, and they were gangbuster events. They were terrific events.
Yeah, there was a time when CRA funding was available.
Yeah.
and then there was something that happened in the state. They took it away for, for a little
So
bit.
hopefully this will bring it back.
Yeah. But it is something that can be done.
I think the difference today is,
One question.
No, it's okay, finish. Go. It's okay.
the difference today is the good old days, the board itself was made the recommendation, did the deal. Now we made recommendations to the city commission, who serve as the community redevelopment agency for the entire city. It was a little different in those days. We would go to the city and get a hunk of money, and then we'd have to build a budget around that hunk of money. But this is, I think, a much more professional way to do it through the city commission, but it's slightly different, and they're going to listen, I think, very strongly to the recommendation of this board. The only question I had is, tell me about the itinerant vendors and whether or not the food trucks are going to be in competition with any of your members. How are you going to handle, I mean, that, for some reason, we always run into a wall sometimes when we have food trucks that are set up on the street and public right-of-way next to a restaurant.
I'm not going to set them up next to a restaurant.
Okay. Well, share with us how you're going to do the itinerant
Well, I
vendor.
have, and I don't have it with me, but I have a site plan, which I've already turned into Demetria, and Rose Askew has it now, going over it. But I set up food trucks or tents in places where there are not a restaurant.
Okay.
Okay? We don't want to compete with anybody
Correct.
that has a business on the street.
And you're going to monitor itinerant people coming in and setting up, taking photographs and selling photographs and things like that, because an event like this can attract people to just show up and
Oh,
try
no,
and
we,
participate.
you know, when we shut down the street, you know, the people are coming in, I know who it is.
Okay.
So we just only accept the people that have paid to set up there. Nobody else is gonna come in and do anything.
Okay.
Throw them out bodily.
Policemen, too.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I think something to remember when these events are organized, people come for the variety of food. So
Correct.
the one or two restaurants that are on Main Street, 3 restaurants maybe, it's
Correct.
not gonna be enough to bring
Correct.
people there.
Correct.
And I think the CRA monetary contribution to help some of these festivals, that's gonna be big, because that number is quite staggering. You know, I know my wife was involved in organizing some events on Beach Street, and to do an event that cost $10,000, and it cost $10,000 on Beach Street
Right.
8-9 years ago. That's a big amount. You got to find a lot of sponsors, and you're not going to make money at it, but it's going to benefit the businesses, and somehow you make it work.
Correct.
So it's definitely a win-win for everybody.
But when I started doing these things 25, 30 years ago, the city fees were nowhere near this.
Sure.
Everything's gone up.
Everything's gone up. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have
Now, do you want a motion?
we got public comment.
Oh,
first.
public comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ann Ruby.
Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. If I could jump up and down for joy without hurting myself, I would. To see the Main Street Merchants Association come back alive is
Right.
so critical to this street. And I am so thrilled. Thank you for start taking this first step. I don't usually go out to things. I advocate they go on, but I'm usually too tired to go to them. But I'm going to be at this one. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing a lot of yes votes up here.
Bravo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann. Tom Cafferty.
Guys, Tom Caffrey, 816 Main Street, world's most famous brewery. I'm the vice president of the new Daytona Main Street Association. Super excited about this. This is the most involved any of the businesses that have been part of this organization since I've been a business owner on the street for the last 6 years. Previous one was run by Teresa very, very well, but it was run by Teresa and there was really nothing else going on, so there was no need for anybody else to be involved. We've got 13 businesses right now that are signed up for it, that pay dues. I am working diligently to get that 501c3. At our last meeting, we brought in, I'm president of Ormond Main Street currently, which is a 501c3. That is the Celtic Fest that went on. We have a lot of these small events that we do in Ormond. We have Granada Grand, which is a beautiful art festival. Shut down the street, do food trucks, all of that behind Kona, all those places over there. The businesses love it. They didn't like it at first, but once the traffic came, the restaurants were flooded. We have food trucks. They're okay with food trucks. It's a really good thing for the area. I'm super excited about it. I look forward to your recommendation, and thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right. So, who would like to make a motion to recommend that the CRA board sees this? Or do we have one more? Oh, come on up. My mistake. I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Forgot about me or something.
All right.
I'm Bobby Honeycutt. I'm the owner of Froggy Saloon. My wife and I are. Make sure she.
You be careful.
Yeah, that's important.
I came back to Main Street in 2020 when, just when COVID hit. My brother passed away the year before. So my experience with Main Street was 2001, 2009. Excuse me. I left Main Street, went to Shores, opened up Surfside Tavern, made it successful, paid $15,000, sold it for $500,000, retired. Then my brother passed away, and Froggy's was ready to close the doors. So we jumped back out of retirement, jumped back in, and we started doing stuff. So I've got a history with Main Street and what we used to do when it was, and I am so pumped up because you guys are pumped up. I mean, you know, all this positive feedback is great, and I appreciate that. Teresa left me with the articles. I filed them, and I said, now what the hell am I gonna do? So I think Tom called me, I called Tom, whenever. I said, we need to meet, so I gotta get rid of these things, you know. They're not doing anything, and we did, and we voted in the vice president, Tom, and then we went ahead and, I'm the secretary, by the way, and treasurer, I'm sorry. Yeah, treasurer, I see. I'm semi-retired, so I'm doing this on weekends, basically. Anyhow, the thing is, Main Street needs the support of the city. I mean, I can only tell you that it's very important. I just recently bought the building, so I've invested a couple $1 million into that building, bought the business 4 years ago, and so I'm in lock, stock, and barrel. Probably not gonna be able to retire, but so while I'm there, I'd like to make some money. And I'd like to make people in the city happy that they have a place to come to. And I really do believe that I've never seen people so positive about Main Street. And I just want to voice my opinion and say thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
You run a very nice place.
Thank you.
And you treat your employees very good. And actually, I know
They
some
make
of your-
me, I mean, yeah.
No, but what I'm trying to say is you have my respect, and you have a great family, and it's an honor to meet you personally. I knew your brother, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Well, I came down there with the intent of being a family-owned business. My brother owned it for 30 years. And I've always felt that when you treat your employees right, they treat you right. You know, they're human, I'm human. We all jump in there with, you know, get up the same way in the morning and go to work. And I respect my employees, and I think that it shows because we do a lot of business, and we do it because of the positive feedback we get from our customers. So,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
You know, it's always been a problem with Main Street in recent years for the vacant buildings. Is there any solution to that? And you know, since there's some new owners?
I think the reason I purchased the building was because the city bought the Corbin building.
For
That
what?
showed me that somebody was interested in Main Street. Okay, they paid almost $4 million for it. And their plans, it hasn't developed yet, but my understanding is they're gonna put a food court and it's retail sales, which which right across the street from me, which means people go there, they'll eventually come over for a drink, you know? And I do believe that if we can, that's gonna help grow Main Street, okay? That Corbin building itself is gonna help bring people off the beach. I'm positive thinking that we need to increase the traffic if we increase the traffic, the buildings will no longer be vacant.
Absolutely.
Because the main issue with the Main Street was, during Bike Week, during the special events, the buildings would be open. But the rest of the time, they were vacant or papered over windows. The interior, the exterior is, faded. There's been no recovery. There has been no money paid to rehab the buildings. That's one of the main reasons Main Street died.
I think that, my opinion is that the city needs to put stricter regulations on these businesses so that they just can't open twice a year.
Correct.
I'm open 365, I actually want 364, but I can't close Christmas Day, somebody wants to work it, okay? So I'm open 365, and we open 7 a.m. and we close at 2 a.m., except for special events at 3 a.m. And every day, you're gonna find that bar open, and, we're there, ready to make money, and I think that if people have that outlook, that business outlook, they're gonna be more successful, and so will Main Street. What's good for one is good for all, And I think that we need to enforce those rules on these businesses that close, that they are forced to stay open or sell, do something. But if we let them just get away with it, they're only gonna come when the check's bigger.
Correct.
Events are here.
I totally agree, and I think that you gentlemen, have something that could revitalize Main Street the way that it used to be.
The mayor has mentioned, I've been to several meetings, that they were going to redo some stuff on Main Street, lighting and so forth. I haven't seen
Yes.
it develop. So, I mean, that was my thought, the city was really on board as far as getting Main Street to look better. I don't know why that hasn't been developed, but 2 years ago, that was mentioned that they were gonna do that, and nothing happened other than the purchase of the Corbin building. And so far, that hasn't developed either, just money spent on the building.
Well, they can never get a tenant that they can agree with, come to terms with, in the term. But I think you gentlemen, I think you've hit the nail on the head to get something going, to encourage people to come down and to make it a viable business again, year-round, 7 days a week.
I would love to have events and.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a win-win for me. But if the Corbin building does develop and they give breaks to these people, let them come in there, that will build the businesses, which will then, all the businesses might be open, then you're gonna bigger tax revenue. So maybe the city just needs to give something to a tenant, say here, for the first year, we're gonna give you 50% off the rent. Make it, I'm not sure what the numbers are.
I'm sure that the city's, agreeable to work with you, because I've been said in so many meetings that Main Street, especially code enforcement all of the years, letting it go by, not enforcing the issues, and I think the city has been negligent.
Well, recently, I hate to say that I'm a spieler, but 19 Grandview used to be our corporate office, and it got lost in the shuffle of the state. Anyhow, it looked terrible. It was between my parking lot and my other parking lot, so I called the city and said, hey, I hate to tell you, but you need to look at this place. And you know what? Next day, they were out there. They repainted the building. I don't like the color, but it looks much better. Cleaned up the grass, took down the fence. So the code enforcement worked on that. It wasn't Main Street, but it was right behind me.
Right.
And I wish they would get on the buildings that are on Main Street and do something about that.
Well, Daytona's been getting such good press here lately about people wanting to come here, to visit, live. The population is growing, and Main Street is so important.
It is.
And, next to the beach, and a lot of people over the years, they've kind of been hesitant about going there, the tourists coming in. And to revitalize that, I think would be a great
Tom is
thing.
working on getting Beach Street opening.
The beach driving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in front of the.
I mean, so we can get people coming off the beach.
Absolutely.
Right there. That's been closed now for 8 or 10 years.
It's been since 2000, March of 2000.
20
You can-
years, okay.
You can
And
track
I
the
think that's
blight.
why, hold on, I think something off. I think that's why Main Street has slowed down, because people from the beach don't even know we're there.
Correct.
Yes, definitely. But I hope that you gentlemen are successful in the most positive way, monetarily also.
Well, with you guys' support, we will be. Thank you.
Thank
You have
you.
a question over here?
I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted
Go
to,
ahead.
just one more little tiny comment. I know you have a challenge before you, and that is to increase your membership. Because I think you said you had 13. There are probably some businesses on Main Street that are not part of the Main Street
Some of the
Merchants
bars,
Association.
other
Right.
bars don't want to join.
Well, it would be, a goal, I know it's probably your goal, to be inclusive and have everyone involved, and I think that's when we really, whatever we could do to support that, I think it would be fantastic,
We're
whether
definitely
it's
working on it.
prayers or what, but it'd be great to have all of Main Street
Oh, I agree.
together. So, I know you guys
Absolutely.
think that too.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Oh,
Wait a
you've
minute.
got something, Gary.
Yeah, yeah. Let me mention that you have a huge audience coming out of Peabody Auditorium every time there is a major event in Peabody. And if you haven't noticed it, lately, we have a fantastic Peabody Auditorium that's doing incredibly successful event. And it might be great to coordinate, if you could, the Main Street Association and the ability to close, even if it's just the side street, where you could set up outdoor cafe kinds of things. I think it's a natural partner for an improved new Main Street, Peabody Auditorium. You've got great management there. They've been around, they know what's going on, and I think they would love to work with you. But you've got to get a quality product, because they're bringing quality products into Peabody. But I'd like to, unless one of my colleagues would, I'd like to move that we do recommend to the Community Redevelopment Agency, City Commission acting as our Community Redevelopment Agency, that they support this event. I guess it's in draft form, but this event, perhaps with this as an attachment, I would rely on the staff to put that together, because I think it's the beginning of a really great thing, and works very well with your new program too on renovating the buildings, young lady. And that's a very important fact, that's now a fact, that I think is going to contribute to a whole new synergy in Main Street. So I'd like to make that motion.
All right. Well, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, moves forward. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You have to, Tom, you're going to have to go to the city commission meeting. You need to be there.
Who was second over here? We had a first and a second. Will was second. All right. Old business. What do we have?
Only item I have is, where are our friends from the Chamber of Commerce who are going to come and share with us the fabulous success of their events in our city and in our Main Street redevelopment area?
I sent the request, so I'm waiting for them to let me know when they are available.
We're moving on to our 3 months since their event,
Yeah,
since
well,
they closed their books.
Well, the first month we said that they were not ready, because it technically take them some times. Then I made the request. I'm waiting for it.
Okay.
I'm going to follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on old business?
I just would like to say that Mr. Libby brought up the historic markers for the historic districts and the need for that. at the time, it was like the next day I get the agenda for the Historic Preservation Board, which timing-wise meets after this board, and they discussed the location of signage for 2 of the historic districts. Staff is going back to the Public Works Department to see the best way to procure the signs. So that is something that is moving forward.
Okay.
Mr. Libby had asked about that. I informed him at the time, but wanted to let everybody else know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Do we have any redevelopment project updates?
Yes, so I am very happy to inform that 2 weeks ago we reviewed more grants. As you may know, we had business grant, commercial facade grant, leasehold improvement.
Right.
And they were all, kind of the same improvement, a small amount of money. So what we did was we combined the 3 of them, increased the amount. Now it will be, instead of $5,000, we are offering for new business up to $20,000 and for existing business up to $15,000. And we include more improvement to the interior, which we didn't have. So this is a new program for small projects. Similar are the one that we have, the 0% interest loan, but this is just for a small project.
Small interior projects?
Interior and exterior.
Interior and exterior.
Yes.
So in addition to the other one.
Yes.
Excellent.
Does the income come from tax increment finance? Does the income come out of the trust fund for this program,
You mean the grant?
the grants program?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice to share that with us before you do it, rather than after?
Well, remember that grants, we always had grants in our budget. The only thing that we are doing is just improving the programs that we had because nobody was using it.
Correct.
So-
Oh, I think that's a great idea, and I commend you for it, but you must remember, this board was the last board in the city to learn that the city bought the Corbin building. I mean, we had no idea what was going on, and we're the advisory board to the city commission, and they were redevelopment funds that went into that purchase. And I thought we were going to try and do our level best to include everybody in the boat, so nobody's left on the shore waving, because we do a lot of waving on this board, and less use of the boat.
Well, in my defense, I believe that I said that I was going to review all the grants.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then I know that there have been conversation about lightings on Main Street. And to respond to your question that why it hasn't been done is because you didn't have a project manager before. Now you do. Yes. So I do have an update on the lighting. Our poles are tall, short, in order for us to have lighting, extreme lightings like we would like. So we met with our public works director, and he said, well, I'm going to look how Sanford is doing it. What Sanford did was they put like a bracket, and then they put the string lights.
Right.
So we cannot do that this time because our poles are
Too low.
for that. So what I instructed our public works director is that we're going to do a complete beautification on Main Street. And it's going to be from Auditorium to Main Street, Peninsula to A1A. And we're going to change all the poles so we can have better lighting. All the alleyways that are very dark, we are going to improve it as well. We are going to be looking at roadway improvement if we need to, sidewalks, signage. I know that Mr. Masson asked for signage for the amusement. That will be in this plan, in this program.
Great news.
So we met with Public Works. We gave him the directions. Now we are going to meet with a consultant. We are going to meet with a consultant that he's going to do the design of the project. Once we have the design, we're going to come back to this board so you can see what options we have, and of course, the budget. And then we will see things moving forward on Main Street, because I believe the future is very bright.
Yes.
Excellent. I'd like to thank city staff for looking into all of that. I can't wait to review all of it. Thank you. That's great news. Does anybody have any questions based on that? No? Not until we see it. Can't wait. Do we have any other public comments, or I think we've pretty much covered everything. Do we have any more papers up there? No? Board comments?
You notice someone's absent tonight.
I did. I did. I did. I did. It doesn't feel right. No, I don't have any comments. Go ahead, Tom.
Mr. Levy was saying that this proposal is going to go as is to the city commission. Could you add a note to that there will be some updates and corrections that we're going to add different things?
Yeah, I think the staff will handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we manage that.
Yeah.
I take care
Yeah.
of that. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think the staff will definitely allow that. All right. Well, thank you. Go ahead, Amy.
You'll be amazed how fast this is going to be, Gary.
I'm not even going to go near the buzzer. You notice it didn't go off once.
I know we talked about some homework and looking at parking last time. I'm going to kind of push that off because I did take a lot of pictures that I wanted to share. But I'd rather do it on a night when we don't really have much else going on. So I'll just save that for one of our
Agenda is.
well, it doesn't need to be on the agenda, just in board comments, but, so and I'll always ask if everyone's interested in doing it before I kind of, usurp the whole evening. But I did have one thing I wanted to ask, and I think Tom said something about this. I was made aware that the county council is going to be hearing something about opening up, beach driving between somewhere and Main Street and whatever. But if you know about that and you're going to speak at the meeting, would you kind of just give us a little summation of what they're going to be talking about and when it is? Because I think people would be interested, and it applies to our area.
So the Main Street Merchant Association voted to put in front of the county council the ability to open Main Street to International Speedway for beach driving. The county council has just announced that it's going to be on the agenda May 21st at 4 p.m. They're going to talk about it. Not sure if they're going to vote on it that day, but there's going to begin a discussion on it and what will happen and why it was initially closed in March of 2000. It's largely in part because I'm very passionate about it. I love the beach driving. I think it's the largest, widest section of beach with the most compacted sand. There's not really any turtles that go there because the sand is so compact. And you can track our area's blight directly to that beach closing in March of 2000.
Absolutely.
And everywhere north of us and everywhere south of us that has successful businesses, the beach is open. There's easy accessibility. There's easy parking to get there. Main Street does have a lot of parking. I am one of the weird voices that state that over and over and over again. Back when I first opened, I got the county chair to open the county lot right next to Bank and Blues. Ed Kelly did that for us. But
I think the problem is nobody knows where it's at unless you're there on the street.
So we have
That's
no
the
signage.
problem.
Nobody knows where Main
We know
Street
where
is,
it's
yeah.
at.
But we've
They don't.
talked about that at recent meetings, and I'll tell you, staff has been exceptional in attending those meetings. Ken has been integral in it, so we're doing a lot of good things. And so hopefully this meeting, May 21st, will be good. It is to open from those two locations. I would just love for it to happen.
Most of the people coming in town go up the International Speedway Bridge, from my understanding. Is there a way that we could put some signage up on East ISB to help all?
That would be amazing.
Okay.
Main Street this way, I mean, it's.
Anything that's positive and family oriented, because that's kind of like how I envision Main Street. I mean, it's a place to have a good time, and you can go there with your wife and let loose and then come back after, but it's just, I just love it,
So staff is talking about that. We had that at our last meeting. We talked about signage at the last Main Street Merchant Association meeting. We talked about signage, we talked about lights, we talked about a lot of different things there. I'd encourage you guys to attend one of our meetings if you're around. They're the last third Thursday? Yeah, third Thursday, we have it right here, so the meeting is here.
There's a couple of possibilities. There's a lot of land there. There's a lot of things that we can do to essentially do a temporary thing before developments possibly, but you'd have to get together and talk to Ken Thomas about it and things to that nature, because I'm pretty sure he's forgotten more than I'll ever know. So,
Well, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have any other comments from this side of the board? Closing comments, anything? No? This side? Anyone?
Could I ask staff, in the budget that we passed, I know there were some dummy categories that had grants in them. And I understand now how we have the cash to do one of them. Are there any other surprises you have for us in those grant categories, those just blocks of money in the budget that we recommended to be passed?
Yeah, we don't have any dummy categories. All of our line items are dedicated to a particular source. So,
Well, like the funding of the band shell, for example. That's not a line item in our budget.
no,
And-
Band Shell has their own funding.
Has their own funding. It doesn't come out of any redevelopment money
No,
anymore.
We don't do anything.
How about the fireworks?
No, I mean, we have some funding that we dedicate to different events throughout the Beachside, but that's about it.
And do we know what they are? I mean, when I said dummy, there was just an amount of money, and there were no notations below that. It was just a lump kind of sum. And I was excited to hear that we did put together those three elements into a much stronger grant. You had comment from many of us that you should look at doing that, because it was a little drib here and a little drib there, a little drib here, and together you really had a really competitive kind of thing. I'm just a little, not concerned, maybe I'm puzzled and maybe I'm too old, because I remember when we were on the front end of discussions about decisions rather than on the back end. And I'm beginning to feel that we're on the back end now, that things are happening that are significant that we learn about after the fact.
Well, Mr. Levy, let me inform you that the staff implements the redevelopment plan. So there are probably a number of things that we do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, that you won't hear about. But if you pick up your redevelopment plan, it is things that we're doing and implementing. We don't come back to the board. We don't go to the city commission. We just implement that plan.
Yeah, but you're asking us to recommend, for example, that the Community Redevelopment Agency move on something at the end of the process, not at the beginning. I'm just
Everything we ask you to do tonight is because it's required that we do it.
Yeah,
Other
yes.
things that we do is not required.
Does that mean if it weren't required, we wouldn't know about it?
No, you pick up your redevelopment plan, you'll know.
Okay.
Everything that we do is based on the redevelopment plan. We don't do anything outside.
But the
that
redevelopment plan changes.
Only if we come to you for a recommendation to change the redevelopment plan.
Okay, well, that was a
But
change.
Right now, everything that we do is in the redevelopment.
Well, that was a
plan.
change, the combining of the three elements into one, and you didn't
No,
come to it.
no, those was incentives.
That
All
was
those
an
are incentives.
incentive, okay.
Those are incentives.
I think I understand.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank God for the incentives.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I did
Go
want to
ahead.
mention one thing, because
Please,
I'm
Ken.
sort of the cheerleader for us and the work that we do. And I can appreciate, some of the comments, from the audience and throughout. But I want to remind everyone, we just spent $100,000 tonight, you all approved $100,000 tonight for businesses that.
For redevelopment in our area.
Yeah, so
That's a
there are
big
things
deal.
that
Yeah.
we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're going to keep doing it. And I believe Angela has in the queue several more $50,000 grants.
That's amazing.
People were just waiting.
I cannot
for that.
applaud you guys enough for getting that going.
Yeah.
Each small, and those are not small things by any means, but each time we see something like that happen, it's going to improve our area incrementally, and those incremental changes are going to change things vastly.
I'm hoping to have 2 more next month.
That's excellent.
That
That
I'm
is great
processing,
news.
so.
That's awesome.
I have 2 more things to say. We provided these flyers, and we have more here. This is our triage business development program. Phoebe Fouquet, my coworker, she's the one leading this program. The registration are open, and you can find more information on our city webpage. Also, with the Main Street Association request, this request is under 25,000, so we will not take it to before commission. But we need your recommendation for us to provide the memo to the city manager and say they went to the redevelopment board and they approve they recommend the approval.
Okay.
So
Thank
you don't have to go before commission.
Oh, that's excellent news.
Yeah.
That fast tracks things quite a bit.
There you go. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. We appreciate all the hard work you guys do for us. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.